everybody, my name's Hillary and I am the owner of Plant Life Midlife, which is the channel you're now watching. This is my first video, and basically I started this channel because I wanted to share my love of houseplants with other people, and also because I felt like there weren't a lot of people who were in midlife who had gotten into plants maybe 2 years ago like I did. And it wasn't something I had really been that interested in most of my life. And then during the pandemic, like a lot of us, I found myself drawn to nature and living things because you just couldn't connect with people as much. And I've always loved plants, I just never knew that much about them. So this channel is going to be a little bit about my journey, the plants I've come to love, and how I care for them. And hopefully you'll comment or subscribe and share what you know about plants, and we can learn together. Today I want to go over some of my favorite Hoyas. I have been obsessed with Hoyas for about a year, and I have about 50 Hoyas, I would have to say. I've been very afraid to put them in a spreadsheet, which I was told to do, because then I would have, the date I purchased them, how much I paid for them, how they're growing. I started to do that and I got a little scared because I had a lot. And so I stopped, but I may continue to do that at some point. If any of you have done that, created some sort of spreadsheet, please comment below, because I'm curious as to whether it scared you or helped you. All right, so I'm just gonna start. I have a lot of Hoyas, but I'm only gonna start with my top 1, 2, 3, 4, my top 6 right this moment. And I'm not gonna say that too loudly because I don't want my other Hoyas to feel badly. I love you all, but I'm just starting with these 6 because they jumped out at me this morning. Today I'm gonna start with, let's start with my beauty. This is a Hoya Clemencorium. Let me remove the tag here so you can see the leaf itself. As you can see, this is a very craggy, dinosaur-like leaf. I got this about a year ago. No, that's wrong. I got this about 4 months ago. I'm thinking of a different plant. And it only had one leaf, and then it had another one coming off this guy, like maybe it was about an inch long, and that fell off after transport. But within about a month, this beautiful new leaf appeared. And they're really unusual, really thick, really, they're like cardboard. But I love the dinosaur look. Now, I haven't had this one bloom yet. Luckily, I did have a few blooming Hoyas, but this one has not bloomed for me yet. I do have a stick, like a brace, on which I put some twine to hold up this heavy leaf because I got concerned that it was so heavy it might snap off. And I have it planted, like most of my Hoyas, in a very chunky cocoa coir mix with some soil from a local gardening shop called Pinder's, and then perlite, because they like chunky mix. This one actually needs to be watered. I find the thicker the leaves, the less frequently I need to water them. I'm a chronic underwaterer, so I have to be aware of that. I've lost a couple of Hoyas because I underwater them. And I know a lot of people overwater. That's not my problem. Okay, so this is the Clemencorium, and she's gorgeous. Move this right along, and we'll move on to my next. This one is another beautiful big leafed Hoya. This one is a Nonnooch. I'm gonna remove the tags. Nonnooch, you can see it has these giant leaves. You can see them next to my hand, how big they are. I have had one new leaf grow out of this one. I got this one about 6 months ago. And it has a long vine coming out of it. Looks kind of dead, but to be honest, I never cut these because you would be surprised how often a new live happy growth shoots off from here, or even a leaf. So I just leave that be. And you can see I also have it. This one actually is how it came. It has these interesting crushable, maybe it's like chunky perlite. I think it's chunky perlite, and then the cocoa coir and some soil. So it's similar to what I planted, and I never replanted this. All right, so that's number 2. This one we have a pink Verticillata. You can see Now, if I name any of these incorrectly, this is how I purchased them. So if I make a mistake and someone knows better, please correct me. I'm not an expert, I'm learning. But you can see how the leaves are so speckled with pink and very thick again. You cannot bend them. And I've wrapped this, this vine around this makeshift Hoya, makeshift trellis that I made for her. And she has a little bit of moss in her. I think she likes to be a little more moist than the other ones. So that is girl number 3. I'm moving right along. Okay, these two are really interesting because I really wanted one of these for a long time. This is an elliptica, but it's a round leaf elliptica. And it's obviously not quite round, but it's oval. And they're quite rare. And I bought this online about, let me think, I want to say about 6 months ago. They're very flat and hard. They're thinner for sure than the other ones I've showed you. But what's interesting is there's another version of this. You can see this is also an elliptica, but this is not the same leaf shapes. There's 2 different kinds. And I have both. This one I purchased from a local nursery. And unfortunately, as soon as I bought it, I realized it was suffering from root rot. It was quite large, so I had to cut it back and repropagate the plant. And it has a couple of new leaves coming out here, which makes me really happy. When I got it, the leaves were super floppy, and everyone said, oh, don't worry. Ellipticas are supposed to have floppy leaves, but these were like crazy floppy. So I decided to take a look at the roots, and yes, they were rotted. And if you don't know what rotted roots look like, I'll go into that in a future video. But now she's doing really well. I'm happy for her. I actually have her brother over here. So I managed to save 2 good sized cuttings from the original purchase. But what's neat is that these are both considered elliptica. This one is more common, and this one is less easy to find. I found this one online, like I said. And she's only grown 1 leaf, this leaf right here, since I got her. But I think she's doing pretty well. They're all under grow lights, by the way. And I think that really helps their growth. So I'm gonna keep them under grow lights. Again, I tend to underwater. Don't be like me, because you'll get root rot. Root rot if you overwater, root rot if you underwater. Fun. Okay, now this is not a Hoya, technically. This is a deshitia. This is a deshitia ovata, and she arrived in pon, which is a medium I do not normally use, but I have not repotted her because I think she's doing so well. You can see she has these gorgeous watermelon-shaped leaves. This one's a little bit of a wonky leaf, but the leaves are simply gorgeous. I mean, I'm stunned with these leaves. And she has some beautiful new growth coming out right here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but hopefully you can. And she came on this cute little trellis in this cute little plastic cup. And what is done with pon, and again, I'm not an expert, but basically you keep a tiny reservoir in the other cup, and this one has holes in it, this one does not, obviously, and you place it inside, so it allows the pon to stay somewhat moist. And I'm not great with these because, like I said, I tend to forget to water, and you can't really see that this reservoir has disappeared. Whereas with my other ones, I just stick my finger in the soil and I'm like, oh, time to water. Whereas this one, you can't do that. So I just have to keep my eye more closely on her because, like I said, pon is not a medium I use very frequently. I'll talk about what mediums I use and some other video later on. All right, final girl is this monstrosity. This is a Hoya Sunrise. Sorry, I almost said Rebecca. I do have 2 Rebeccas, and they are somewhat similar looking, but this is a Sunrise. I actually keep her outside in Florida. I'm in South Florida, not quite south, but near West Palm, so she loves to be outside. Obviously, she's super sun-stressed, and you don't normally see them as sun-stressed, and this, I got her before I really knew anything about Hoyas, and I put her outside, and everyone said, oh no, Hoyas like shade, and I was like, whoops. But she's done really well, and as you can see, she has these gorgeous blooms. She started blooming about a month ago and just keeps popping out new blooms. They're cute. They're like a pale pink with a yellow center. Hopefully you can see those. There's a couple more over here. And I just think the Hoya blooms are just so great. I mean, I got Hoyas initially because I love the leaves and the shapes, but as soon as mine started to bloom, I realized how special the blooms were. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 blooms on this now. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see if there's any more peduncles started. Oh, here's one. So she is a stunner, and I've sold a couple of cuttings from her, but really I just want to see her get bigger and bigger. And she's in a terracotta pot, as you can see, which is fine because it rains a lot outside and I have the sprinklers going off like twice a week. So she gets plenty of water and is doing really well out there. So I'm gonna put her over here. And so that's it, my favorite Hoyas of the day. And hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you'll subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to talk about some other plants in my next video, and how I choose the soil that they're going to go in, and basically hope to connect with more plant lovers. All right, have a great day.